Hi, everybody. This is Gary Dean with Sentiment Timing, and this is our technical video report for Wednesday, August 13th, 2025. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. So the Bulls really kicked me in the groin today. We had the two positions that we were holding overnight. We got a fantastic entry for both the SPY and the IWM yesterday. The Spiders, we got in all the way when it gapped up right here. So we had, I think, the 223 calls, and I started buying them for today, but I was buying them yesterday, and I think we had the 224s. And we had a fantastic day yesterday, and I didn't want to really roll the dice and close the positions before the market closed, even though they expired today. And just being more on the conservative side, and I really got beat up here, especially with IWM, because it was probably about a $10,000 mistake that I made on it. So it didn't hurt us overall. We still, we made $500 today, but I was really more chasing my tail because I missed this, because we had the Spiders as well, and that, this was the gap up. So we had I think going all the way down to 642. So that hurt, and I was really chasing my tail all day, and it wasn't one of the better days because I was just too ticked off about missing it. So let's go on. So we have first off, let's do the gap up fade trade. That worked again, stays at 100%. I've been tracking that for about a year and a half, and I'm telling you, every time you see a gap to new all-time highs, just layer in on the short side and just expect that this gap is going to get filled within the next 3 days. So here you see we closed the gap, we got a bounce. If the Bulls can get above the 64.79 level, then I'm anticipating they're going to make that run for 6,500, maybe 65.15. And from there, I'm anticipating that we're going to get some profit taking towards the end of the day, especially if we're up again. But if we open up down, what I would be looking for, let's just say that, did we today, when we closed was the high. What I would be looking for is, if we opened up lower, would be a move down somewhere to the 64.35. That would be your ABC move. Possibly, to this support right here at the 64.26. And I would use that as a buying opportunity, because I do believe that we are going to see these highs taken out into 6,500, test it. And if we open up and in that 6,500, 6,520, I'd probably start, if you're long, taking some profits. I think by the end of the day tomorrow, some people are going to be taking profits. I'm not really looking too positive into Friday. I think we had a pretty good week right now, and I think anybody that's there is not going to really want to risk anything. But I think if we do see some dips going into Friday, you probably want to we could use them as a buying opportunity, because I still think going off of just a wave structure that I'm not going to go over here, we should have a couple wave fives and then 4 and then 5 coming up. So we may go through next week and see the S&P trading near the 6,600 level. And even though we have, sell signals, it's when you're in this type of market, and I went over that in the morning, where, think back to the internet when we had the .com bubble that came. Well, we're in the infancy stages of the AI, but the AI is not going to be a bubble. That really is going to change people's lives, and businesses are going to change dramatically by it. And we can see that same type of move, from here on out, meaning that this is the internet bubble going back here. And what you can see, this thing, we had your pullbacks, and I do expect we're going to get, this, and we're going to get one of these. But for the most part, man, this thing went just straight up. And with the AI, I think that it's going to be even more powerful than that. So I think any dips that we see, we want to be looking at them as a buying opportunity. But we are going to get one. I think that comes down to test the 200-day moving average. But as I said, I thought I was looking for something to go deeper, and it still may come, but. When I read that article, and it was talking about comparing this to the .com bubble, but this isn't, something that is just you put a .com on it and it went up 50%. This one's a lot different than that. And, it kind of changed my tune a little bit with it, where I'm saying, all right, you know what, let's just look at, we expect some dips to come because nothing goes straight up or straight down. And you could trade those, but I wouldn't be looking at any kind of major top being made, until maybe October or something like that, where then we might get a decent little pullback from there. But, right now, I think that there's just too much momentum going. But the bearish divergences are saying that we're not too far off. So I think if we do get at the 6,600 next week, then we'll probably have a dip somewhere down into the probably somewhere down into the 6,200, 6,000 level, and then maybe a bounce up after that. But that's a ways away, so let's just let it go, go from there. So downside support, you have the 64.36, 64.27, and then we're going to come down to right around that 6,400 level. Those would be your buy spots. On the upside, we're going to go, you have the 6,500, the round numbers. That's going to be there. We also have that 64.88 that I pointed out yesterday. We didn't quite get there. So it might be 64.88, pull back a little bit, 6,500. And then, from there, it's kind of hard to say just because we don't really have anything to go off of it. So we'll just have to kind of wait and see, where it ends. But for tomorrow, I think at early dips, you want to be buying if we get early strength. I think we get some kind of pullback, but they'll try to do the same thing, close it strong towards the day. Excuse me. And then, I think that the rest period will probably be on Friday, something like that. We'll have to wait and see. So today, like I said, it was an okay day today in the fund. We did 530. I was really, like I said, I was chasing my tail. Being that we were in IWM down at the 222 level with the 223s, and going into tomorrow, we bought both of these. And I closed them just because we had such a good profit. I didn't want to take a chance. This one hurt, and I was really, I left a real lot of money on the table, and I was kind of chasing my tail all day. So it wasn't a great day where I can pound the table and say the room made a lot of money, the fund did. It was a struggle, and I was waiting for IWM to give any kind of pullback. Nothing. So we have 2 days in a row of just pretty much straight up. So it's one of the reasons why I said, when I got kind of market neutral on the S&P, which was wrong, I'll be the first one to say, but wasn't saying I was going bearish on it. I said that I was expecting a pullback, and I was just going to switch over and start using IWM as my instrument on the upside. And, just the past 2 days alone, you have the S&P that was up maybe 1.2%, and we have the IWM that's up almost 5% in the 2 days. So that part, I was right, but as far as looking for the bigger pullback a month ago, that wasn't, maybe even a little bit longer than that. That didn't pan out, but we weren't short the market. We were just going along with IWM. So let's see what plays out tomorrow. Have a fantastic night, and I'll talk to you guys in the morning.